Hey everyone, welcome to the Mighty Books Podcast, where we sit down and chat with mighty authors about their books, message, writing successes, struggles, and other relevant authorship topics. I'm your host, Ryan M. Oliver, author of the Beasts of Men and Gods series. Now let's get started on today's chat. This week's featured author is Lucky McCullough. Lucky is an author, podcaster, speaker, and personal coach. As a coach, she offers gentle accountability to help her clients gain clarity and peace. As an author, she breaks down obstacles into doable steps, inspiring her readers to partner with Divine Source to co-create their dreams. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another wonderful episode of the Mighty Books Podcast. On today, we have Lucky McCullough. Lucky, how are you doing today?
Aloha, I'm doing great. It is awesome to be here. Thanks for the opportunity.
My absolute pleasure. So we're here to talk about your book, and what is the title of your book?
Quiet your mind chatter.
What is this about?
In my book, I offer wellness tools that remind us that we are already okay. We are already safe and loved. We don't actually need to listen to mind chatter, which tells us that we need to check everything off the to-do list before we can relax and be happy.
I love that. Sometimes I need a reminder like that too. We get very busy on our day-to-day opportunities and work and obligations. So what is exactly mind chatter? I mean, we can all kind of take a guess what mind chatter is, but what, in your definition, what is mind chatter?
Mind chatter is the voice that never shuts up. If we keep listening to it, it keeps talking, keeps telling us that things aren't good, things are not good enough. We need to keep doing things, we need to keep achieving things before we're okay. And my mind chatter before I started on the spiritual path was not pleasant. It was constant and it was never satisfied. I kept jumping through hoops thinking, oh, if I do this, then I'll be okay. Well, I did that. Then there was another stipulation.
So what inspired you to write a book on quieting your mind chatter?
Working on quieting my mind has been a focus of mine for years. And whatever it is that I'm working on, it helps me to process it, to write about it, helps me to process it. So basically, I'm giving this book to the world and to my readers, but it's essentially self-serving because when I am doing my own self-work and my own self-care, to spend time in prayer and meditation and work with affirmations and journaling and all these wonderful wellness tools that I use a little bit each day. It's not like every day I spend 3.5 hours on wellness tools, just little tiny little steps each day over the years adds up to a quieter spirit, a better connection with my higher power and with myself. And then I'm blessed to ask God to help me to be a channel of peace. And then I get to offer all these wellness tools to whoever wants to read my book and listen to my podcast.
So you wrote this book as a means to kind of process your own mind chatter.
Yes,
Okay.
and I am a writer. That's who I am. When I was a girl, I was an absolute people pleaser and I had a little bit of writing talent. And my teachers, whenever I turned in any kind of writing, they would make smiley faces and give me A's, and that felt really good. So I wanted that some more. So I focused on writing and developed that little bit of writing talent over the years and spent many, many, many hours of my life, my childhood and adult life writing. It's my absolute passion. And I actually used to write fiction. I wrote 7 novels, apparently just for practice, because I'm not a very good novelist. I'm a mediocre novelist. I can't kill my darlings. So my novels were pretty flat, just a whole bunch of pages of people being nice to each other. So that doesn't really work. But then I realized at some point about 6 years ago, I was called by my higher power to be a coach, a wellness coach, and I wasn't even sure what that was. And then I realized, oh, I'm going to write a book focusing on wellness topics. And then that really helped me realize that this whole time I've been meant to be a author of nonfiction healing works,
Mhm.
which I don't have to hurt anyone in my books when I'm writing about quieting your mind chatter. It's about helping people and having God work through my work to heal people.
Yeah, there's a lot less having to create conflict for interest rather than actually healing, fractures in your life or your mind. Or so that I like that. I like that a little better. If it appeals to your soul, it appeals to your mindset, go that way. If it doesn't, then avoid it and put that lock that away. So it's good that you discover that. It takes time sometimes. It really does to discover that about yourself.
It was, we'll just say, disappointing to realize, oh, I just wrote 7 novels for practice. Okay. But acceptance, that's what happened. And now I'm rocking on nonfiction, personal development books, and I'm in alignment with God's will. And I've received feedback from my readers that what I've written has helped them. And that really blesses my heart.
And I hope that makes up for the time you spent, developing your understanding of how you operate. I mean, you've got people who, spent 12 years in college and didn't do anything on that scale. So it's not like you're in good company with a lot of people. They've spent time doing something and then they just kind of alter their track a little bit and they found exactly what they were going for. So it's a good thing that you did. It's all part of the journey, isn't it?
It is. I love and hate that word. Flexible. I'm flexible. No, I'm really not, but life is bending me. So, okay, may as well go with it.
About accommodating, just making compromises,
Mhm.
trying to, yeah, just trying to deal with all the lovely things that come our way. I get it. So in your book, you mentioned it's a big section in your book about pleasure as a means to quiet the self-doubt and the mind chatter that comes with that. How does that work?
When we are engaged in play, our inner child hears the secret knock on the door that it's okay to come out. The scary part is over. And when we're having fun and giggling and being silly, that mind chatter, that scared part of ourselves realizes, oh, we're safe. We don't actually need to do anything else to guard against pain, to guard against danger. We're not in danger. It's no danger's coming our way. We're safe here and we're having fun. And then all of those parts, those inner children can just coalesce into one relaxed, silly whole.
What kind of just day-to-day pleasures can people look for?
I am a writer, so generally what what I start with is writing. So I suggest if someone's trying to build more pleasure into your life is to just take the nearest piece of paper. Or if you like writing on an electronic document, just open the nearest electronic document and just write a bullet point of 5 things or 3 things or 10 things that might sound like fun. You can write really big things. Oh, I think I want to walk barefoot in Scotland, in a big field in Scotland. Oh, I might want to walk barefoot on the next pretty day in the park by my house.
Mm,
I might want to buy a jump rope and jump rope down my street.
right.
Anything. And then put it on your schedule. Pick the easiest thing, put that on your schedule within the next week and do it. And you can invite other people along, but if they can't make it, you go ahead and do it anyway.
Yeah. I like the idea of planning to play. I think that's especially as adults, we were talking a little bit before we started about, just busy schedules. I mean, you and I both have full-time jobs other than just being authors, and you also do a podcast as well. So we're pretty busy. We got our pretty full schedule. So planning that time that's scheduled for you for play for you, it's a mental health thing. It's a emotional thing. It helps you get through the times. And if you're comfortable, calm, and having a good time, then there's nothing's really work, I guess I would say, or it's not as much of work as I would say.
And it could be anything depending on your personality. It could be, I'm going to make a cup of hot tea and sit still for 5 minutes, or read my magazine for 5 minutes, or I'm going to crochet for 10 minutes, or I'm going to watch silly pet videos for 5 minutes. It could just be these little pockets of fun in between our days instead of waiting. Oh, I've got 2 weeks vacation and it's coming up 8 months from now and I'm just going to work nonstop until I finally have vacation. That's not exactly healthy. So take a little bit of fun
Mm.
here and there. And then when you finally do get on vacation, you'll be more relaxed and able to enjoy it instead of a balled up mess of
Oh,
nerves because you haven't had any breaks at all.
yeah, yeah. I hate that when you're just go 100% going into it, and then finally you come to a screeching halt. All of a sudden, your body's like looking at you. What are you doing? I'm used to going 100 miles an hour. Now you're wanting me to chill out. It takes like half your vacation just to unwind, and then you can enjoy yourself. That's not how it should be. It should be you're now on break, and now you can enjoy yourself, take all the time you want, and then
I've
really
had
just enjoy it.
vacations like that where mind chatter really beat me up because the first 3 days I was still so keyed up from cranking up the work to try to get everything ready before vacation. And the first 3 days I was still stressed out. And then my mind chatter was saying, you should be relaxed. You've been looking forward to this. You're still stressed out. So I was stressed out. And then I was beating myself up for being stressed out.
You're giving yourself a guilt trip about being stressed out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that is kind of. I think we all do that to some extent. So I mean, this is definitely people are wanting to kind of help calm the beast inside your head that just won't be quiet. Pick up quiet your mind chatter. Take a read.
And we can take those thoughts and put them in a balloon. You can imagine that where you're picking on yourself, you should be whatever, that should
Mm-hmm.
word. I try really try not to use the should word. You should be, well, put that in a balloon, let it go, send it up into the heavens, and that's not curse it, just bless it. Bless you. I don't know whose thought it is. It's not mine. You go find your home and then it just floats away.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get to choose our second thoughts. That's one of the sections in my book is first thought, second thought. So my first thought is I should be whatever's and bless that thought, let it go. And then what's my second thought? I'm safe here now. I'm loved, or whatever positive thought that you can choose as your second thought. And we get to practice that and get
Okay.
better at it.
So I mean, a lot of that self-reflection is taking a step back in the moment, looking at what your knee-jerk reaction was, and then going, "This is what I want to be. How I want to react or respond to better myself in the long run." Is that kind of where it's going? That goes with that kind of self-reflection.
Yes, we get to choose
Mhm.
because first thought just happens. It just comes into our heads. We don't need to beat ourselves up for it. And the second thought is where the choice comes in. Okay, that thought's here. I'm going to just let it go. This too shall pass. And then I get to choose my second thought. And I
Mhm.
have a whole chapter on affirmations because every couple days I on something that I'm reading, I come across a new affirmation that I want to memorize. So I always have these little 3x5 note cards around my house with the newest affirmation. I was reading a deck of affirmation cards from Louise Hay, and one of them says that I am centered in peace.
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
put that on the underside of a chair because I spend a lot of time on the floor doing my physical therapy exercises. And I kept looking up at the bottom side of this stool, and there's just a tag from the manufacturer that's not attractive. And I thought, that's a good spot for an affirmation. So now I taped the affirmation with a heart. I am centered in peace because when
Mhm.
I'm lying there, sometimes I'm thinking, I don't want to do physical therapy. I'm sick of this. I do this every day. It's for my lower back. I
Okay.
wish it would just stop hurting. And
Yeah.
those are all true. That's happening. And I'm centered in peace. So I get to choose that second thought. And I put those cues around so I actually see them and remember them. When I don't want to remember it, when I don't want to do it, it's there in my face. And I'm like, okay, that's my loving inner parent an hour ago or 3 days ago stuck this here. So this rebellious inner child who wants to, you know, get angry about everything, I can choose to be peaceful.
That's positive self-talk, and that almost nagging reminder to be positive, but it really does help. You can fix your day. You can change your day by just having a good positive thought about something, and it's contagious. I know An industrial environment like I was just recently, about last year, people would be all negative and not want to do this, not want to do that. And if someone comes in with a positive attitude, maybe they're not really feeling the greatest, but they're still positive. All of a sudden, the atmosphere would change in the room. Things would start to lighten up a little bit. Maybe not everyone gets affected, but those who are looking for that positivity and that openness, they do. They'll kind of gravitate toward you, and it just adds to your positivity and your mind chatter quieting too. Just silence that, put that away behind closed doors for the
I
day.
I call that God. I recognize that as higher power.
Mm-hmm.
My higher power is awesome. My opinion is each of us get to choose our own concept of our higher power, God, the Great Spirit, Heavenly Father, Heavenly Mother, Mother
Mm-hmm.
Nature, whatever it is, that spirit that's amazing and awesome and kind and all powerful and not me. When someone says something to me that is so needed, I'm having a whatever kind of day and someone just smiles at me or says a word of kindness, I see, that's God. Thank you, God, for speaking through that person.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, God, for people are in this meeting and it's not going well, and someone walks in and they have that positive, peaceful energy in the room. Like you
Mm-hmm.
were saying, that just the energy in the whole room shifts. And
Yeah.
that's what I get out of doing this healing work, is that I get to be a channel of peace. So I get to feel peaceful. The St. Francis prayer, Lord, make me a channel of thy peace, that where there is hatred, I may bring love, that where there is wrong, I may bring the spirit of forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
And all of those hope and faith and all the other ones I can't think of right now. I get to be a channel of those. So I get to feel those wonderful emotions and positive qualities flow through me, from God through me to other people, as I'm writing, as I'm teaching my online spiritual retreats and talking to you about it.
Mm-hmm.
And it just helps my life. And then when people come back later and say, I read this part in your book, I just opened it and it was right to the page that I needed to read. And that's a double blessing. That's an even bigger bonus.
Mm-hmm. Helping someone that don't even expect it. That's kind of it's a nice little blind side, a good blind side. It's like, I didn't know I needed to hear that today. So affirmations, they are they coming from scripture? Are they coming from just people around? You find affirmations everywhere.
The affirmations in my book are things that come to me that I have been working with. So if I have a problem, an issue that I'm working on, and I journal about it, then I ask God to help me, send me thoughts. God, how should I think about this quote unquote problem?
Mm-hmm.
And then flip it. So if I am frustrated with someone and they're not cooperating and they're negative, and what I'm doing in my day and my schedule depends on this person, I can't just cut this person out of my life. I need to deal with this person for whatever capacity. And I journal about it. And then God sends me a thought, or the universe sends me a thought, or whatever. I can pray for that person, because this person that's something I've been working on lately, is the people who are getting on my nerves. They have been sent into my life because they need prayer. They need God's special blessing. They're really struggling with something. They had some childhood trauma that they are not yet over, and they need some help processing that, or I don't even know what's going on with them. It's coming out negative. I know something's going on with them. Don't
Mm-hmm.
know what.
Right.
And it feels personal. It's not. They have unhealed parts. And one of the ways, especially in our society with men, is you're allowed to be angry. That's the one emotion that men are allowed to be. And so I can pray for that person, that God bless that person with safety and healing and love. So then maybe the next affirmation that I write down is, I send blessings of love. I send
Mm-hmm.
blessings of healing. And then I get that love and healing through channeling through me to that other person. And then the next time I see that person, I a lot of times will think, that person. But then, since I've practiced spending just a few minutes sending blessings to that person of love and healing, that softens my heart. And I think, oh, okay, I don't have to be angry with this person. I can send love and healing right now. And then it shifts our relationship a lot of times,
Mhm.
sometimes instantly.
That's a lot. So it takes a lot of work too. It's a lot of self-discipline, a lot of, like I said, that self-talk, forgiveness for just forgiveness in general is a huge challenge. Forgiving them for acting maybe impulsively. They don't mean to be hurtful, but just kind of how it came across was that takes a lot of effort on your part. And then, like you said, that kind of change in mindset when you kind of get to know them, that instant change where you can kind of connect with somebody and hopefully benefit them in a healing way. That's really powerful.
Something that I've been practicing lately, my friend Courtney, my hiking friend, suggested this to me because I was having an issue with someone and I was talking with her about it. And she suggested that I blow love over them for 12 breaths. And then on the 13th breath, release them and
Mm-hmm.
ask for a change in the nature of our relationship. So imagine that person as a little kid, a toddler or a 5-year-old. Imagine that person as a innocent child, and you're holding that child in the palms of your hands, and you're just on an out breath, just blowing love and understanding and compassion over the child, and just imagine what that kid was going through when he was 5 or she was 7. And
Right.
because we don't just instantly appear as angry dysfunctional adults, things happen to us and we develop these defense mechanisms to shield ourselves from these dysfunctional families of origin. And then a lot of times we carry these behaviors and patterns into our adult lives, and then we get to deal with them as our coworkers or neighbors or family members. And so for 10 12 breaths, just imagine this young person, blowing love over them and understanding them. 13th breath, release them and change the nature of our relationship. And one of the phrases that has been helpful to me is, I forgive you and I release you.
Mm-hmm.
And that really is me releasing myself from carrying that
Yes.
resentment in my heart, or that negative feeling. Every time I think of that person, I have this negative feeling in my heart. I release myself from that.
And that I think is probably the most challenging part, is letting yourself kind of separate from that negative thought, negative feeling, negative anything about a person. Trying to you're forgiving them, but you're forgiving them for you. And maybe over time, a relationship can occur where the two of you can come together and see eye to eye to some fashion, or at least get along, in some way. But that self forgiveness for others is monumentally challenging. It takes a lot of self reflection.
And we
But
get better at it
oh
with
yeah.
all of these wellness tools. I wasn't very good at them when I first started. I thought this was a bunch of hooey, and I believed it about 1%, and 99% I'm like, this isn't going to work. But I believed it enough. I read a Louise Hay book and I started reading it, and I'm like, this is, I don't know. And I'm actually rereading it now. That was years ago. And we get better with practice. If I want to be a basketball player, the first time I pick up a basketball, I'm going to be pretty crappy at it. But if I
Mm-hmm.
practice for 10 minutes every day, or right now I just bought a electronic keyboard piano, and I'm rusty. I haven't played for years,
Right.
and I've been practicing just a little bit, and I'm improving. So if I keep at it for the next 40 years, God bless me with 40 more years, I'll have improved. So if we keep practicing just a little bit, affirmations to forgive other people and then forgive ourselves. I did that with myself the other day. I was judging myself. This is definitely a first world problem. I was swimming laps in my heated oceanside pool here on Maui. And I've had more than one person over the years comment on the brevity of my swims, because
Mm.
I whatever exercise in the morning, and then the afternoon I think it's 12 minutes generally, sometimes shorter, sometimes a little bit longer, but generally 12 minutes. That's a sweet spot for me. I get in, I swim 10 laps, I get out, and then I feel refreshed. And I've had people say, you're already done. That's all you're going to swim. So every time I get in the pool, I have this judge. You need to swim laps longer. 10, that's hardly anything. And this is at the end of the day. I'm exhausted. I had to talk myself into this instead of praising. So every time. So I decided I'm going to blow love over myself. So I imagined I was my own little baby, lone little cute little girl in my hands, just compassion and love, because I grew up with a rageaholic father, could not please him at all. And I kept trying, man, I kept trying and kept getting that negative feedback. And so that's the loop that's still playing in my head
Sure.
when I'm swimming laps. Is it doesn't matter what you do. If you swim 100 laps, you're not going to be good enough, because today you'll be good enough, but tomorrow you need to swim another 100 laps tomorrow. So just bless that little girl with love,
Hmm.
and forgive myself for my humanness if I made a mistake, or if I only swim 10 laps.
Well, you know what? 10 in correspondence or in relativity between 10 and 0, it's a much bigger number. You got down there when you're tired. You made that effort. That's a triumph. And then getting in the water. I mean, Maui is probably pretty warm, yeah. So I
It's
mean,
nice.
that
Yeah.
I am jealous of that because Hawaii is beautiful. I've yet to be in Maui. That's a future trip. But swimming in Maui next to the ocean for even for 10 laps, you got either you're aiding your health both mentally and physically. Ass 10 laps. I got down here. That was a win. That's a win.
Yes. And it's sustainable because I swim almost every day. So no,
Yeah.
I don't do marathons, but I meditate every morning for 6 minutes while I'm doing a physical therapy stretch. I'd meditate every evening for 6 minutes while I do a physical therapy stretch. I walk in the morning for half an hour up and down a hill, and then I swim for 12 minutes. So I'm not a weekend warrior. I don't wait till the weekend and try to hike some huge hill for 3 hours. Once in a while, I go with my hiking group, and I'm like, oh Lord, I like my half-hour walks much better.
Yeah, I always like small victories anyway. I mean, that's how we persevere and how we get things
Yes.
done. I always liked doing, something for an hour versus doing something for 10 to 12 hours. You just get burnt out. You get tired. That enjoyable thing you're doing, the hobby you're doing, whatever, maybe the workout you're doing, you're just like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm exhausted. I have other things I want to be doing other than, doing this for 12 hours a day. It's a lot more pleasurable that way. I feel, and if it gives you pleasure and someone else doesn't understand it, well, tough. They'll figure it out eventually, or they won't. You just go about your business. So I'm assuming everything we're talking about here, you dive right in with you preach to with your coaching too, all the clients you got.
Yes, I love working with people one-on-one. Generally, the way that it works is that I talk with my coaching client and at the beginning of the week, and then whatever issue that we're working on, something ongoing or the newest development in his or her life, and then just set some small kind goals. That's how we say it on the island. Some
Mhm.
small goals, doable goals for the week. Maybe just one or two action steps. If the client is working on physical wellness, losing weight or building strength, maybe a wellness goal for that week would be to go for a 20-minute walk twice,
Mhm.
and not, every day do a marathon. Just twice, just go for a walk twice if they're, rehabbing and coming back from an injury or something. And then towards the end of the week, I text that person and ask, did you walk twice? So a little bit of accountability. And if she says yes, great, I give her a thumbs up. If she says no, I only walked once, or I didn't, it's like, that's okay. I'm not going to beat you up. And maybe they're also working on self-talk, and that's something that, oh, I know I need to work on self-talk, but since we're focusing on that, she knows I'm going to be checking in with her at the end of the week. Maybe the easy goals for her that week, or doable goals for her that week, or him that week, is to spend 3 minutes 3 times that week writing affirmations. We've, I'll text her a couple of affirmations, and just 3 times for 3 minutes, she wrote those affirmations.
Mhm.
So if she does that in the morning, it sets her mindset for the rest of the day to be kind to herself. So it's impactful during that 3 minutes, and then it trickles into the rest of her day.
That's awesome. So you said you do a weekly check-ins, or it kind of depends on your clients?
Yes and yes.
Okay, okay.
Seems
That's
like once a week works well for people, but it's customizable. Whatever works for my client works for me.
I like that. And the one-on-one thing is I'm very powerful in my mind. You get to know the person on, first name basis, that kind of thing, and a little more intimate knowledge about them, how they work, and you can share with your experiences. It's not people aren't, on display on for show. You don't have to perform if you've got a bunch of people in there, in a class or something. So it's really nice that they can feel comfortable with you, and you can just share all your experiences with them. It's just a very nice place to grow and learn and try to get better at what you want to improve upon.
And again, it's self-serving for Lucky because my favorite part of coaching is watching people grow.
Mm,
One of my clients, she has been my client for 4 years, I think. And I've seen her grow and change so much. And it's not some huge growth spurt. It's been little tiny changes over that period of time. And she sometimes gets frustrated with herself because she feels like she's not changing as quickly, things aren't improving as quickly as she like. But as an outsider, having an objective point of view, I can see she's grown so much, and it
mm.
really blesses my heart that I get to play a small role in that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. You want to do things that benefit others, and in turn it does benefit you in the process. I mean, that's what it's all about, is just trying to raise each other up, and over time everyone grows from it. It's not just your clients, it's also you growing as well.
It's helpful to me to be a really good listener because that gets me out of my own head. Because when I'm alone for too many hours in a row, I come up with all kinds of things to think about and things kind of get tangled up inside my head. But when
Yeah.
I'm working with a client, I am listening to him, I am listening to her, trying to channel God to come up with some really good ideas that time around to help her that week. And then she or he gets me as a listener. And that's my definition of love is attention. If you are paying attention to me, that is demonstrating love. You have your phone completely turned off and you're totally tuned into me, or vice versa. I'm tuned into you. So I'm thankful that I get to provide that for my clients, to have someone just to listen and pay attention to them. And if something, get something off their chest, and I'm a safe person to receive that and validate that. And it's wonderful. I love being a coach.
That's awesome. I'm really glad to hear that. And then, so along with your coaching, you do your own podcast as well, yes?
Yes, and it is also called Quiet Your Mind Chatter. Actually, it's called Quiet Your Mind Chatter with Lucky, and you can
Oh,
find
okay.
it anywhere you listen to podcasts. My website is wellnesswithlucky.com, and you can find my website there as well.
Okay.
Oh, I'm
Uh,
sorry, my podcast. You can find my website on my website.
well, yeah, you can. You're not wrong. You can find my website on my website as well.
Sweet.
I love that.
Same,
You said you have
same.
online spiritual retreats too?
Yes, I have online or spiritual retreats about every 2 months.
Okay.
And again, it's self-serving. Oh my
Sure.
goodness, everything I do helps me. I love it. So a few years ago, I had a packed out schedule as I always do, and we had a threat of hurricane. So everything on this island shut down for about a day and a half. So my very busy schedule all of a sudden was just empty. I had nothing on my calendar for a day and a half. And it occurred to me, I need to have some kind of spiritual connection with my higher power, meditate, pray, journal, all that stuff that I do in little sips. Every day I do a little bit of that, but then hurry up, get out the door to the next appointment. So I had this day, about a day and a half of spiritual clearing, spiritual connection. And then it was amazing how light I felt the next day. And it kind of unfolded over the next couple of weeks, couple of months. And then I realized I like this. I need to do this again. So then I enlisted a friend of mine a couple months after that. And just she and I had a spiritual retreat, met on Zoom. And then that was God's way, life's way of leading me into offering online spiritual retreats as part of my services. So for 3 years now, about every 2 months, I offer retreats. So we meet at 11 a.m. Hawaii Standard Time. So it's usually 2 p.m. or so, 1 or 2 p.m. Pacific time, or about 4 or so p.m. East Coast time, depending on the time of year. We meet on Zoom, meet, greet, share our intentions for the retreat, and will have sent the materials ahead of time. So basically, if you come to the retreat, you do some journaling, you do some prayer. What do you want out of the retreat? What does God want you to focus on? And then we all share, oh, during this retreat, I want to focus on this health issue or positive self-talk, or I'm struggling financially and that's got me worried. Lots of mind chatter there. So we all share. And then the retreat, the meeting's about 45 minutes, maybe an hour. And then everyone does the retreat on their own, just individually, either that evening, Saturday evening, or Sunday morning, or, a couple hours in the morning, couple hours. It's 4 hours is how I structure it. And I send instructions. You just follow the directions for each hour. And some people don't have 4 hours. So they carve it down to 3 hours or 2 hours or even 1 hour. And then we get to meet again Sunday, that next day, Sunday, and share how it went. And then get to see, because at that point, we're invested. We've listened to each other. We care about each other. And some of my retreat goers come frequently, so I get to see their growth and get connected with them over a long period of time. And some people are new, and we get to welcome the new person, and then we get to share how it went. And, oh, you struggled with that too. Okay, cool. I don't feel so alone. And she had this breakthrough and this clarity of a new way of thinking about the issue. And it's awesome. I love it. And then about every couple of months, I start feeling kind of like I need a spiritual clearing. And then we have another retreat and get to have that spiritual focus and just clear all that out and make room for the new.
That is awesome. This all comes from your coaching. Do they have to be clients to come to that? Or is it just kind of bring a friend of a friend to come to the spiritual retreats?
My retreats are open for anyone who is on a spiritual path. Some people come to just one, and there's actually a section in my book that lays out for people how to do this spiritual retreat. Because if you want to host your own, you and your friends, or you're a coach and you want to start doing these on your own, take what works from you. For my retreats, you can come to one, gobble up my ideas, go out and make a bunch more money probably than I make, because it's very affordable what I charge. Go for it.
You're not in it for the money. You're in it for that release, that break, that time, the connections, all the good stuff that comes from getting together and doing something with like-minded folks. And I like that it's not a huge time commitment. It's 45 minutes, another 45 minutes, but you have all that independent time in the middle to meet up and kind of do whatever the retreat tells you or guides you to do. So if someone wanted to A, get a copy of your book, B, learn about the spiritual retreats and your coaching and your podcast, where can they find all this lovely information?
Wellnesswithlucky.com is my website, and you can see my website which is wellnesswithlucky.com.
Okay.
I also am on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook. And I should have reviewed this beforehand. Some of them are Wellness with Lucky, and one of them is just Wellness Lucky. I'm sure the techie people can figure it out.
I'm sure they can. A lot of people they're pretty good at all this fun stuff nowadays. If they can't figure it out, I will definitely have a bunch of this information available to them in the details in the video, and they will be able to access this and hopefully get a hold of you if they want to commit to some coaching time with you, do a little reading. It's getting to that tail end of summer time frame. Good time to read. Really, in my opinion, anytime's good time to read. So if you're interested, pick up a copy of Quiet Your Mind Chatter by Lucky here. And I think you'll have a great time.
Also, it is my book, Quiet Your Mind Chatter, is on Amazon, and it just was released as an Audible book, so you can listen to it.
Awesome. That's even better. I've known a lot of people lately who have been really liking the sit down and listen to books versus reading them. Just time, and people really like getting stories told to them versus reading. So that's really great that it's on many platforms. So, Lucky, this has been fantastic. I really appreciate you coming on here and sharing with all that you do. And I hope that everything continues to go great for you.
Thank you.
All right, everybody, you have a great rest of your day and enjoy the rest of your summer. All right, take care for now. Are you an author? Do you know someone who is? If so, then message me, Ryan Oliver, at ryanmoliver.com to set up a free appointment to discuss being showcased on the Mighty Books podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe to the Mighty Books YouTube channel and share the link to this and more episodes with your friends and family. Thanks for listening. So long for now. Stay mighty and keep reading.